Meet Valentine Warner, a globe-trotting cookery writer and champion of forage food.
That is astonishing. It's perfect.
When it comes to cookery, he walks on the wild side.
Ow! I'm out of here. I've just sat on an ant's nest.
Nathan Outlaw is an award-winning restaurateur.
I'm a little bit of a daredevil and I thought I'd just go for it.
And Britain's only seafood chef to hold 2 Michelin stars. Great friends, but now they're rivals.
The competition is burning strong.
They're going head-to-head.
That's going to be the winning catch.
Travelling around England and the Mediterranean, fishing some of the best coasts and rivers.
We're going out. We might need a bigger boat.
They'll catch the freshest seafood.
Whoa! Is that a conger?
I think I've got something here. Oh,
That is a cracking Spanish mackerel.
And cook up a storm.
Whoa!
But whose dish will wow the judges?
Yeah, I think the contest is on.
playing to win. I need to win.
Today, the boys are divided on their fishing tactics.
I was in the fishing shop. The guy said, "This fly really works for mullet." A friend of mine says it's brilliant, so I bought some.
This worm, see it? That's the lucky worm.
And they compete to wow the judges with two ambitious dishes.
What would you say? This one is an artist, and this one is meticulous?
This is Sainte-Marie-de-la-Mer in France's Camargue region, which sits between the Rhone rivers, forming Western Europe's biggest delta. Vast marshy plains are home to over 400 species of birds, and wild horses roam free. The boys' fishing guide, Roger, is taking them to lagoons, which are said to be teeming with mullet.
I bought a fly rod with me.
This is the best way of fishing.
Is this a good way to catch mullet?
You have to try. But we'll see.
But if they are on the top of the water, then
we'll
it could
see.
be okay.
Yes, yeah.
Roger, I'll do what you do and let Val do what he does.
Today's prize catch, grey mullet, have firm and flavoursome flesh, but they're notoriously tricky to catch. They have thick, soft lips which are hard to hook, and they spook easily.
Here we go. Now, I've never had a big mullet, Nath.
No, I've only bites. I've never got one. They are quite elusive.
Difficult fish.
Yeah,
They're tricky.
Very, very difficult.
yeah.
But we're with you, Rod.
But you are good.
Don't tell us that now, Roger.
Just after sunrise is the ideal time to catch mullet, and Roger, who's fished here for 20 years, knows all the prime spots.
There's the surge of the sea currents out there, and then we've just come into this very calm water here, and now we're in the Rhone, Le Petit Rhone, the small Rhone.
Val's trying fly fishing, probably the most technical type of fishing going, and for one of the trickiest fish to boot.
I've totally fallen for that old thing as in the fishing shop. The guy said, "This fly really works for mullet." A friend of mine says it's brilliant, so I bought some.
Nathan's sticking with the tried and tested method.
Worm and a hook, classic fishing. There's a good chance this little baby is going to catch something.
Right.
His baited hook will sink deeper to where the mullet feed. That's the theory anyway.
Look at that fish. Look at the fish over there.
I'm getting follows every time on this fly. Whether they want to eat it is another thing, but they're actually coming after it.
My experience of mullet fishing is that I've never caught one because they are tricky. They're very, very tricky. What I do know is when you do catch one, they give you a good fight, and that's what I'm hoping for. I think in a minute I've got the best chance because I'm on the worm, and that's what Roger does, and he's the expert.
Bites are what count, and so far, neither method is working.
Roger's told me when we get close to the fish, no noise. Come on, baby. Where are you? What you gotta do is whisper to the fish. Sweet talk them onto the line. They know they want that little worm.
It would appear they don't, Nathan.
Okay, we move. Another spot.
That's just beautiful, look at that.
Bulls in the mist.
Wild bulls. Tell you what, they're looking at us though.
They are. I wouldn't want to run across that field, would you?
According to Roger's radar, this new spot is teeming with them.
Oh, there's loads of fish here, Nath. Nath, loads. Loads and loads and loads of fish.
So me and this worm, we're at one. There's a bit of telepathy going on. I'm telling it to be eaten.
Nathan's sticking to what he knows best.
Yep, there we go.
And Val's joining him.
Nath, the heat is on. I'm on the same kit. Same kit and caboodle.
Oh, this is showing off.
Yep, there we go. Nath, you getting proper bites? Oh, again. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Has Val's change of tactics changed his fortunes?
No.
No, that's weird.
No.
That would be a very big mullet.
Yeah.
But with the sun fully up, their chances of catching anything like the fish have all but disappeared.
Damn mullet!
The fishing was a no-score draw, so the boys will have to buy mullet from the market for their cook-off.
Mullet's a seriously underrated fish. It's really, really delicious. It's definitely one of my favourites. So I'm going to do an escabeche. It's a kind of sweet and sour pickle with lots of onions, lots of flavour. It can take it.
Now for me, grey mullet just sings fennel, olive oil, olives, and that's what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to make a lovely fennel marmalade, I think, and I'm going to work with the olive oil and the olives together to come up with something very unique.
Val and Nathan are in the Camargue in southern France, and having caught nothing this morning, they're sourcing their mullet direct from the market.
See, Nath, that's why the mullet is so hard to catch. Small, soft mouths right at almost on the top of their head. Tricky, tricky, tricky.
Which just leaves them to find the rest of their ingredients for tonight's cook-off. Nathan's in search of local olive oil.
This place is amazing. It smells amazing, it sounds amazing, and I know the olive oil is amazing, and that's what I need.
He's come to meet owner Jean Benoit.
The olive grove here, what makes it so different and so unique to any other olive grove?
Well, the first thing, and it's the most important above all, is the fact that you are in the limit in terms of climate. You are in the northern limit. Beyond this point, going north, the olive tree don't grow anymore.
Right.
Also, the trees that you see around you are centennial trees.
Wow.
They are probably 400 or 500 years old. See this tree here?
Yep.
This one is a pollinator. It's called Verdal, and it's got an olive which has white dots.
Olives must be de-bittered in brine or caustic soda before they're edible. Eating them raw is a no-no.
Okay. Can I try that?
You can try that.
Yeah. I've never tried them before.
Oh, okay. You'll
Not
like
like
it.
this.
You'll
Really?
like it. Yeah, sure.
Not a trick, is it?
No.
Blimey. That is so bitter.
It's extremely bitter.
I think I prefer them when they're finished.
We do that to tourists all the time. Sorry.
cool.
Sorry, Nathan.
Time to sample some of the finished product.
Then put some air to get the back of your throat to taste the olive oil.
That's lovely.
Long, fresh.
Now I get a bit of pepperiness coming now.
Absolutely. There's three characteristics in olive oil: fruitiness,
Yep.
pepperiness, and bitterness. They should all be in check.
It's very balanced.
Exactly. That's very important into an olive oil, especially when you're going to cook with it. This one here is from the same area, which is very small, by the way. And same olives, we just did something else to these olives to get to that taste. We call it fruité noir, or black fruitiness.
Wow. That's like black olives, as if you'd eat them black olives.
Exactly.
That smell.
Exactly.
That's amazing. I've never, ever smelt an olive oil like that.
Very typical of Provence. We're going back to ancient practices. Take the oxygen away and we ferment it. Then that's why we have that black olive.
I've never tasted anything like that. You've definitely given me a lot to think about, but I think I'm gonna have to take both bottles because I'm still not sure.
That's the best idea. Let's do that right away.
I learned a lot in there, and in here is the winning ingredient for the winning dish.
Meanwhile, Val's sourcing an ingredient that's been produced in this area for over 2,000 years.
I'm in Aigues-Mortes, and this area all around me, the size of Paris, in fact, it's all for making one thing, and I'll give you a clue. It's that, and you use it every day.
It's sea salt, and this plant produces 300,000 tonnes of it every year. And salt collector or saunier Luc has been harvesting here for over 30 years.
I'm going out to be a saunier. Feels slightly like a 5-year-old with a spade, shorts on and some wellies.
Coarse sea salt is harvested by machine, but a gentler approach is needed to skim the most delicate crystals known as fleur de sel or salt flowers from the surface.
Fleur de sel de Camargue.
It's delicate.
Yes. Fleur de sel. It's a salt fleur de sel for cooking, but not at the beginning of the cooking, after cooking.
So it's for finish.
Yes,
finishing
for the
salt.
finish.
And the fleur is the flowers of salt.
Yes.
The sea salt is coloured pink by algae, but as it dries out, the algae die away, turning the salt white.
Sea salt is very strong, and fleur de sel is not the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 This little mountain, done by hand, becomes that whopper over there.
It's time to join Nathan for the cook-off. The boys are borrowing fisherman Roger's kitchen. Together with olive oil producer Jean Benoit and his wife Catherine, he'll be judging today's grey mullet dishes. Nathan's serving his hot smoked with an onion and fennel marmalade, while Val's will be fried and served with sweet and sour onions in a dish known as an escabeche.
First, get your fish really nice and dry. Just stops it slipping around on the board.
Val fillets his fish.
Very carefully find the spine, and then following the bones, I'm just going to cut off the meat.
And cures it in the fleur de sel sea salt. Nathan's keeping his fish intact and butterflying it.
Now, the trick is when you're butterflying fish is to make sure you don't come right through the top of the fish, where you usually would. And once you get to this point, you turn the fish over. You do exactly the same thing. With a very sharp knife, you can just go straight through the rib bones. Once you can see the structure of the bones, you need to take a pair of scissors, nice and sharp. Remove the pin bones, and then it's ready to be marinated.
This dish is actually called an escabeche. It's a Spanish term for a dish means something that's fried and then marinated in a vinegar-based sauce. Just before I put the onions in, I want the seeds heating up.
He toasts cumin and coriander seeds.
Put some oil in the pan. And very gently cook my onions. I don't want any colour at all. 4 or 5 cloves. Taste comes out in this little bit at the top. A couple of chilies.
And half a dozen peppercorns and some bay leaves.
My onions are semi-soft, but not totally tender. A little bit of bite.
Fresh orange juice and strips of orange and lemon peel. A glug of red wine vinegar, brown sugar, and a capful of sherry vinegar.
Big handful of raisins. Some thyme.
Next, he grates fresh ginger and squeezes its juice into the sauce.
And this takes a lot of olive oil.
Now what I'm doing is making a marinade for my grey mullet, and in that I've got some garlic, I've got some lemon zest, and then I've got the top of the fennel, it's got the nice fronds on it. There's no point in putting the marinade onto the skin side because it's not really going to penetrate it. All I want to do is just give that fish fillet a little bit more oomph and add that with the smokiness. I think I'll be onto a nice cracking dish.
Nathan's smoked mullet will sit on his onion and fennel marmalade. First, he cooks his onions in white wine vinegar.
I've added 3 cloves of garlic to the 2 onions, and now the vinegar's completely reduced, and there's no colour on the onions, and that's exactly what I want. I've got a bit more of my fruity olive oil, and then all my sliced fennel into the pan. And all I want to do with that is just soften it. I don't want to get rid of that crunch.
He adds sugar to the fennel.
So you can see the fennel's just starting to caramelise, and that's the point where we put the onions back in.
A shot of pastis boosts its natural aniseed flavour. Marmalade done.
Right, I'm just going to make some incisions down the back, and that's because I want the marinade to go into it. Fish is floured and then fried. What the flour will do is thicken up the quite thin marinade at the moment into a sauce. And weirdly, I'm going to flour both sides, even the flesh side, so just pat off any excess. Now I really want the fish to brown, so it has to be ready. Don't rush this bit. And then I'm going to put a little side plate on top of the fish to keep the skin pressed flat.
Val adds his onions to the fillets, making the escabeche, and leaves it to stand. While Nathan's butterflied mullet is smoking, he makes a start on his mayonnaise. Egg yolks and Dijon mustard whisked together with olive oil. And what's this? More pastis, Nathan?
Yeah, that's it.
Time to plate up.
My secret weapon from Roger's garden, these tiny little baby basil tops.
Nathan's smoked grey mullet is served with fennel and onion marmalade and his pastis-flavoured mayonnaise. Val's is served as an escabeche with a potato salad dressed with olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, green olives, parsley and fleur de sel.
What would you say? This one is an artist, and this one is meticulous?
Ooh. Yeah.
That smells delicious. Yeah.
Yes.
Donc bon appétit.
Bon appétit.
Okay.
While Roger, Jean-Benoit and Catherine tuck in, Val and Nathan taste each other's dishes.
I think this is really delicious.
That's the texture I wanted for it.
I think, though, that the wood slightly burnt.
Yeah. The balance of the vegetables, of the onions in the escabeche is lovely, and all the spices come through just right. I think the saltiness is just a little bit.
I've overdone it. I tasted it straight away. Too much.
Are you trying to champion the salt?
Shall we?
Will the judges agree? It's crunch time.
Right. Bonjour.
Hi guys.
Hard day in the kitchen.
Right.
I'm going with grey mullet, with sweet and sour onions.
Thank you very much.
1-0 to Val.
I vote for the grenouille with fennel and olives.
1-0.
Val's regain the lead. Join us next time when the boys are heading to the High Pyrenees, fishing in chilly mountain streams.
I know there's trout here, I've seen trout here, and I'm going to catch one. It's that simple.
I've got something up my sleeve if it all goes wrong.
Val and Nathan are in the Pyrenees, the mountain range separating France and Spain. The boys have come to the heart of this rocky border area. They're near the town of Lordvier. The Pyrenees stretch for over 400 kilometres from the Bay of Biscay in the west to the Med in the east. Today they're fishing for wild brown trout.
I know there's trout here, I've seen trout here, and I'm going to catch one. It's that simple.
Nathan rustles up a meaty mountain-sized snack.
That is an incredibly manly snack. You could eat that till you exploded.
And the cook-off produces a real conundrum for the judges.
I like the beans, I like the pasta, I like the trout.
This could be our first raw.
The boys are up before dawn to meet their guide Gregory at the Ness River.
Very beautiful here.
Yeah. It's a little cloudy, but
It's good for today,
it's good for today, for this morning, I think.
but we're doing different things today, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you-
will try fly fishing, and you will try a special technique.
Okay.
Their prime target here is the wild brown trout. It has a pale underside and distinctive rusty spots. Its flesh is meaty and succulent. Brown trout were introduced into these mountain streams as an extra source of food for shepherds in the Middle Ages.
Well, look at this, Val. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It looks promising. There's lots of little fast runs, the kind of places that trout like. There's lots of little deep pools of trees hanging over the top. This is looking very, very trouty.
I'm really excited about it this morning. It's a lovely, lovely area to be fishing in, and I think Gregor really knows what he's doing. So there's a good chance, using the local method, that I might actually catch something.
There's a lot of trout here. Pyrenees is famous for them. Gregoire says the fishing's a bit difficult at the moment, but if I find a quiet place and go into my zone, I'm pretty sure I'll get something.
I've got something up my sleeve if it all goes wrong.
Val's determined to try fly fishing. But Nathan's opted to use the local method, a much longer and stiffer rod with larvae as bait. Val's using an artificial fly to lure the fish onto his hook. It's a classic method, and it's all about the casting.
I know there's trout here, I've seen trout here, and I'm going to catch one. It's that simple.
Nathan's Pyrenean method is a more straightforward technique, which doesn't need the same skill in casting.
It's not easy, this fishing. It may look easy, but it's not. The actual technique is you got to swing the line like a pendulum, and then you got to just plop it in front of the trout's nose. It looks very, very simple, but actually it's not. It's all technique, so it's actually quite hard. But it's good fun. Hopefully, I can catch a fish.
Val's fishing downstream from the others. Determination is etched on his face.
In a little pool like this, fishing it quite carefully as I have, I would have expected to have had a trout by now.
The fly fisherman is a great fisherman. He do as well as he can, and he do it very well, but it's difficult because it's very cold conditions for August, and the trouts are sleeping today.
While Val prowls the river, Nathan is fixed on the left bank.
Even this fisherman, he does everything very well. He should have taken 2 or 3 trouts for sure.
So I've been fishing now for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm starting to wonder whether I'm going to actually catch a fish. But you know what, I think I might have to resort to my other tactic.
Nathan has a secret plan to guarantee he hooks a decent trout.
I'm going to catch a fish soon. On. See, I told you it wouldn't take long. Don't tell. Bit easy, isn't it?
So it's a fish farm, and technically he's cheating, but at least he's hooked something.
Val wouldn't have liked it here anyway. It's far, far too easy for him. But I tell you what, I reckon I've caught some fish, and I don't think he has. And now at least we got something to eat.
Meanwhile, Val's getting desperate. He's now ditched his fancy fly fishing in favour of the local tried and tested method.
Oh, yes!
And it's worked.
Haha! I got a Pyrenean trout. I put it right under the bank, and silver kind of lilac with tiny little bright orange spots. That's a beautiful trout. It's legal,
Yes.
but I don't like to kill trout that small. I want something a bit bigger. Where the hell have you been?
I've been fishing.
I smell a rat, you know.
I was upstream, I caught these 5.
Upstream, I've caught some of the trout out of this stream, and they don't look like that, mate. You've been to a trout farm, haven't you?
Nah. Okay, you caught me out. They're good though, they got 5.
Time for brunch. It's Nathan's turn, and he's come well prepared.
Chicken livers on toast, Val? Fancy that?
Yeah, I'd love that.
What are you up to?
I'm doing a picture of you.
Okay. Now the first thing you need to do is to make the shallot garlic reduction. Now the whole point of a man snack is that it has to be tasty. And this, I think, is a lovely dish. And it was actually in New York where I first tasted it. There's a chef called April Bloomfield, and she gave me this dish and it just blew my mind. So basically I've stolen her recipe.
Ow, look at this. I'm out of here. I've just sat on an ant's nest. Ow. Great place to sketch, on an ant's nest.
Are you right?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. I've just got a couple of nips on my butt.
Shouldn't laugh. Need a good glug of olive oil. In with your shallots and your garlic. Not too much colour on them, you'll stop them for about 2 minutes, just to take the edge off them. Now port, Madeira, probably about a cup of each. Obviously you have to be very careful when mixing your alcohols, but port and Madeira, they work really, really well together. And with chicken livers, they just give this lovely sweetness from the port, a nice little bitterness from the Madeira, and the aroma is just fantastic. We want to take that down until it's like a syrup. Next, chicken livers. What you want to look for with chicken livers, if there's any sort of a green membrane or veins inside or really bloody parts, you want to cut them out. They won't harm you, but they'll be a little bit bitter. That's about as far as you want to take the port and Madeira. Nice syrupy texture.
He quickly sautés the chicken livers.
Now this should take about a minute and a half. A bit of pepper, in fact a lot of pepper. And then we've got some salt as well. And then very, very quickly you want to turn the livers over. Madeira reduction straight back into the pan. And that smells amazing. I'm going to let them cool for 2 or 3 minutes just while I do the bread for the toast.
Big slices of chunky farmhouse loaf go into the meat juices.
Chop through the livers and chop the parsley into it as well. Now it may look a mess, but I can assure you that is tasty.
He spreads the chopped liver and parsley onto the toast and voila, ready to eat.
Oh man. That is sensational. That is an incredibly manly snack. You could eat that till you exploded.
Earlier, the big fish weren't biting, but Nathan hooked some farm trout, so today's judges won't go hungry. Now they're off in search of the perfect local ingredients to go with their trout.
Now, people might think that trout and honey is a bit of a challenge, but A, I like a challenge, and B, this producer knows how to make honey.
Nathan's come to meet local food producer Malou.
After you. Really excited. Going to see the hives. Bit nervous, but I'm protected. I'll be fine.
She looks after around 10 million bees from her mountainside home.
How many hives have we got, Lily?
I've got 200 hives.
200 hives.
That's a lot of honey, around 2,000 kilos in a good year.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So these bee workers
Yeah.
and brood larvae in a cell. I try to find the bee queen.
In each hive, there's just one queen bee. She is the only fertile female and can lay up to 2,000 eggs a day.
That's the queen.
Oh wow, there is the queen.
Yeah.
Don't want to wind her up. So where are we going next?
In my shop.
Taste
to
some
taste honey.
Nathan wants to sample the produce of these busy bees.
I make vinegar from honey, chestnut honey,
Okay.
and mead.
First, Malou's mead, a drink made of fermented honey and water.
Oh, I tasted a few of them. Party time.
The first one this year.
Yeah. It's really good honey. I'm going to cook with the honey, the vinegar and the mead, and hopefully that'll be enough to beat Valentine Warner.
Val's getting experimental too. Soft fruit and freshwater fish is a traditional local combination, but not well known outside this region. Val's come to a farm tucked away in the High Pyrenees where Estelle grows raspberries.
Can I pick a raspberry?
Yes, of course.
Look at those. My first Pyrenean raspberry. Oh, that's very delicate. Why are Pyrenean raspberries so good?
Oh, there are many reasons. The water is very rich with the nitrogen,
Yeah.
potassium.
Yeah, so lots of minerals.
Yes,
You've got a good strong sun here.
yes, too.
But it comes with problems, I see, because what's all this for?
This is electricity
Yeah.
for the deer.
For deer.
Yeah.
Is there many deer here?
A lot.
And they like raspberries.
They love fruits.
Fish and raspberries. Cooking. Do you eat them with trout?
Yes, some are cooking with.
The great thing about these raspberries is that they're sweet, but they're not too sweet. Look at these, they're dark, swollen, fat, plump, juicy raspberries. I know the Brits love their strawberries, so do I, but just don't take my raspberries away from me.
Estelle grows 7 types of raspberries, which fruit from mid-June until the first frosts of November.
Merci Estelle. Thank you for your wonderful raspberries.
Thank you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Foraging over, let the cook-off begin. Today the boys are cooking in the home of local foodie Patrice, who will be judging their efforts along with fisherman Gregory and honey producer Malou. Nathan's trout forms the centrepiece of both today's dishes. He's making trout sausage served with haricot tarbé, the local white beans, and honey. Val's trout will be smoked, served with raspberries and macaroni.
And I'm going to butterfly my trout.
He starts by preparing his fish, which he's going to hot smoke.
The aim is to keep the trout whole, but kind of take the spine out, so the whole thing kind of opens out like a flannel kind of thing, really. Like a butterfly, not a flannel. Silly me. When you're going to smoke a fish, you need to brine it. The salt and the sugar mixed in the water actually seals the outside of the fish. It seasons it, but it slightly kind of burns the outside of the flesh to keep all the moisture in the fish while it's smoking.
For the brine, he uses 4 tablespoons each of brown sugar and coarse sea salt and about a litre of water.
And my fish is going to go in this for barely more than 5 minutes.
Nathan begins his sausage making by frying smoked streaky bacon.
Then I'm going to make a reduction using my leeks, my shallots, garlic and thyme. Now if you control the heat right in your pan, you don't burn the oil and you don't burn the fat, so you can use it to actually cook the rest of your stuff in. So we've got the olive oil and the bacon fat there, which will bring all the flavours together. So the bacon's crispy enough now, so I'm going to take that out and let that cool down.
He adds mead, cider and white wine.
And what we'll do is reduce that down until you've got a nice syrupy consistency. All the liquids are reduced in here, so I'm going to let that cool down. It's very important when you're making anything with fish is to make sure everything is cold.
That's because fish can overcook so easily. He dices the skinned and boned trout fillets and blends them with bread soaked in milk, making sure to squeeze out any excess liquid. And an egg to bind the mixture.
Now what we're looking for is a texture that's not smooth, it's still quite coarse, because we still want to see that it's actually trout that we're using.
He adds cream and the honey, leek, shallot and garlic reduction with chopped smoky bacon.
Then carefully just fold that together.
The final element, fresh parsley. It's time to form the sausage.
And try and make sure it's quite compact before you start rolling, because you don't want any air holes in there.
The mixture goes onto sheets of cling film. It's important to completely seal it.
Now the best thing to do is to tie one end and then turn it around. So we're looking for it to be quite tight. And there you have it. Once the water comes to almost a simmer, plonk your sausage into the water, and I reckon it's going to take about 25 minutes to poach.
Meanwhile, Val's using fresh fruit and red wine vinegar to make his own raspberry vinegar.
Delicious with fruit. This is just going on a low heat until the raspberries collapse. Nothing more complicated than that.
When the fruit has broken down slightly, Val sieves it to produce a smooth liquid. Val's trout needs to come out of its brine bath.
So the time has come to smoke my little trouts. Now the tray. I'm putting the trout flesh side facing up. I don't want it to take the direct hit from the smoke. I want it to be quite a light smoke. Lid on. They're going to be in there for about 5 or 6 minutes.
I need to remove my sausage from the water. It's been in there for about 20 minutes. We need to get that cooled down to stop it from cooking and to firm it up. So while the sausage is cooling down, I'll get on with my bean stew.
Nathan's stew will be made with local haricot tarbet, but any white beans will do.
Now I'm going to sweat off these shallots for about 1.5 minutes just to get rid of the rawness.
He adds a couple of spoonfuls of honey.
It'll start to caramelise a little bit. I don't want to take it too far.
A glug of honey vinegar for acidity and a good splash of mead for sweetness.
Once the vinegar and the mead is reduced and you start to get this sort of lovely bubbliness, I know that's ready for the cream.
These white beans are a famous product of the Pyrenees.
As soon as the beans are in there, turn them over a few times. I tell you what, I'm not going to cook it any more than that.
He adds fresh tomatoes and flat parsley.
And that will just help balance the richness and the sweetness of the whole dish. A little bit of heat, and that's enough.
Meanwhile, Val's trout fillets are hot smoked to perfection. He's cooked his macaroni and now prepares a sauce.
I'm just smashing my hazelnuts. I want them to have a little bit of presence. About 50 grams of butter. What I want to do is for the butter to bubble away but not burn, for the hazelnuts to slightly brown, and then I'm going to leave it to sit and the butter will start tasting of hazelnut.
Then he sautés lardons of bacon before adding some of his raspberry vinegar.
Kind of sticks on, caramelizes a bit.
He combines it with his cooked pasta, garlic, creme fraiche and a strong local cheese. Nathan's trout sausage is ready to slice and to finish off in a little oil.
This has got a lovely texture. That's the colour I want. Spot on.
Time to plate up! Val's serving his smoked trout on a bed of Pyrenean macaroni cheese with hazelnuts, croutons, tomatoes, yellow raspberries, parsley and tarragon buds. Nathan's trout sausage comes with white beans in a honey cream sauce, fresh tomatoes and parsley.
You want a piece of fruit?
Yes.
Now to feed those hungry judges.
I
don't recognize that. Oh yes, of course, yes. The
yes.
truth with honey.
Voilà.
C'est bon.
Well, I like the crunch of the
nuts.
The nuts.
Yes. Truth is very. It's a surprise. It's good.
While Malou, Gregory and Patrice deliberate, Val and Nathan taste each other's dishes.
You cook that so well, that trout. It's bang on.
You know when you eat something it's totally different to everything you've ever eaten before?
Yeah.
This is really original. That's the word I'm looking for.
If I was being really, really critical of my own food, I'd say the beans were a touch undercooked. What can you do?
I put too much vinegar on my bacon and it made the bacon go very tough.
It's too late now, boys.
Bonjour.
The judges are ready with their verdicts.
Bonjour.
You have to tell us which one you think is the best.
I think both of the plates are very good, but definitely I prefer the sausage trout with bean, in spite of the bean, which are a little hard.
That's 1-0 to Nathan.
I like the beans, I like the pasta, I like the trout. For me, the same for all. Two is good. Many works, bravo.
Patrice can't separate the dishes. He gives them 1 vote each. So it's all up to Malou.
Wow, do you know what this means, Nate? This could be our first draw.
My preference? Sausage truth. I prefer with honey and hydromel, perhaps.
That's her mead.
Fair and square. I thought there was hope with that juice there.
So Nathan pulls off another win, making the series score 4-all. Join us next time on the Spanish coast when the boys will be up at dawn on the hunt for squid.
Hello, boys and girls. Can you see the squid?